Hey everyone, welcome back to Learn English with Fatima. This is part 2 of my adjective series. If you missed part 1, make sure to watch that first. Today, we're going to talk about gradable and non-gradable adjectives, and we're going to talk about comparative and superlative adjectives. Let's get started. Gradable adjectives are adjectives that can be made stronger or weaker by adverbs. This means we can add an adverb before the adjective to make it more or less powerful. For example, the weather is hot. Maybe it's summertime. If we add the adverb really before our adjective, hot, we can increase the power of hot. The weather is really hot. Maybe it's too hot to be outdoors. Or we can decrease the power of our adjective by adding something like fairly. The weather is fairly hot. Now it's only a little hot. Let's look at another example. The movie is funny. Maybe I'm smiling as I watch it. Or the movie is extremely funny. Now I can't stop laughing. Or to decrease the power of funny, we could say, the movie is not very funny. Maybe I fell asleep watching it. So now let's look at non-gradable adjectives. They are adjectives that cannot be made stronger or weaker by an adverb. They just stay the same. Here's some examples. The plastic duck, the Halloween doll, the soccer ball. All of these adjectives, plastic, Halloween, and soccer, are examples of non-gradable adjectives, meaning we're not going to add an adverb before them to change their meaning. Non-gradable adjectives fall into 3 categories. They are either already at the extreme of the adjective, meaning the biggest or smallest example of that adjective, like today is the most fun I've had. Or they're absolute, meaning there's something that's fixed. For example, the question is impossible to answer. Impossible can't be more or less of anything. It just is. Or the third category is classifying, meaning something is of a specific class. For example, the scientific study of the moon. Scientific is a class. It can't be something that is made more or less powerful. Comparative adjectives are used to compare 2 or more things. For example, this house is bigger than that house. Or oranges are sweeter than apples. Comparative adjectives with 1 syllable use an ER ending. For example, the adjectives big, bright, or fast become bigger, brighter, faster. Comparative adjectives with more than 1 syllable use the word more or the word less before the adjective. For example, the adjectives frightening, interesting, expensive would become more frightening, less interesting, more expensive. You can use the more or the less interchangeably. So you could also say less frightening, more interesting, or less expensive. Now, some comparative adjectives can use an ER ending or the word more or less. They have the same meaning, but just don't use them together. For example, with the adjective quiet, we can say quieter, or we can say more quiet. Just don't say more quieter. Let's talk about the word than. We use than to introduce the thing the noun is being compared to. For example, the ocean is bigger than a lake. Math is easier for me than history. 10 is more than 5, but less than 15. Be careful. Than is different from the word then. We use than for comparatives. Then is an adverb used to describe the order of events. So we could say, she went to the store, then the library. That's then the adverb. Or we could say, the store is closer to her house than the library. That's than, the word we use for comparatives. Okay, we've learned about than. Now let's look at the word as. If we want to compare two nouns and they are the same, we use as. For example, the bus is as fast as a car. The formula here is the first subject plus a be verb plus as plus our adjective plus as again, and then our second subject. Let's move on to superlative adjectives. Superlatives are used to talk about the extreme of an adjective. For example, this cake is the best. There is no cake that is better. Or, my brother is the fastest runner. This means there is no one faster. Superlative adjectives with 1 to 2 syllables add est to the end. For example, big, bright, and fast become biggest, brightest, and fastest. For 3 or more syllable words, we use most or least. So if we had frightening, interesting, and expensive, they would become most frightening, least frightening, most expensive. We can combine superlative and comparative adjectives to compare 3 things. For example, these 3 dogs. The first is big, the second is bigger, and then the third is biggest. This ends part 2 of everything you need to know about adjectives. Next time, we will discuss adjective clauses. See you then! Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you check out my other videos about vocabulary and grammar on my YouTube channel. Bye!